What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with now the next node here being the city nodes. Starting off here, before I dive into the gameplay and footage, I'll show you guys my quick 5 characters I'm utilizing for these nodes. So first up, Squirrel Girl, loving what she brings on as support, her ult fence down, her healing, and her cleansing. Absolutely crucial, and testing her out for the first time in Dark Dimension. So, fortunately it's been fun having her, and just having that sustainability has been really crucial for my overall roster and team. Shang-Chi being able to cleanse as well, having that synergy with Squirrel Girl and being able to provide support, but as well that Way of the Fury ultimate dealing a lot of damage, especially when they have a lot of positive buffs. Highly recommend. We got Cloak really being the main driver in our team, inflicting negative conditions, especially offense down, blind, defense down. It really gives us an edge in battle, especially when we're trying to crowd control and ensure that we reduce and mitigate damage. Ghost Spider really synergizing the rest of the team as well because of her ultimate web snare, being able to actually extend and spread out all these negative conditions, right? It looks like one character may be ending and we can refresh all of them and ensure that blinds stick for a little bit. And as well, her ability block is much appreciated, especially when we try to prevent a character from utilizing a cleanse or heal, so forth. And then last but not least, Scarlet Spider here being able to extend negative conditions as well, dealing slow, defense down, as well as some AoE damage, and his passive no responsibility, giving that passive boost here of the 30% max percentage health being allocated to Ghost Spider. So having the synergies there, it's definitely really appreciated, overall rounding out my team. So there you guys have it. Let's dive right in now to the gameplay. Positioning wise, I did put both Ghost Spider and Cloak on opposite corners just because, in my opinion, they're the two most important members of the team. And starting things off, guys, I am showing here a failed attempt here because at the very beginning, we do actually want to do a sacrificial attempt here. So you can see this is going to be a very difficult node already. You can see at the beginning with having, Squirrel Girl, 2 Groots, as well as Rescue. This is a very devastating cleanse team right now. So what we want to do in the very beginning is we want to use some abilities such as Shang-Chi's ultimate, Squirrel Girl's cleanse there, because we know we're going to get these abilities back with their low cooldowns, right? But what we ideally want to do in this first wave is try to get them to utilize their cleanses and use that ability, so that way when we reset, we're going to be in a better spot, because I tried multiple times and it's extremely difficult just to get a meaningful attempt. So you can see right there, keep track, right? Squirrel Girl just used the cleanse on their end. We want to basically use as much abilities as they can. You can see with War Machine activating his abilities. I believe the Falcon actually activates his ultimate almost every turn for this node as well, so keep that in mind. But I knew from the beginning it wasn't going to be a meaningful attempt, so might as well waste as many abilities as you can. But at the same time, don't use key abilities such as Cloak's ultimate, right? We're going to be needing that in the next attempt here, but let them utilize their abilities, especially the cleanses, and it's going to set up the stage for the next attempt, which is going to be really the bulk of the work here. So I hope this helps you guys in setting it up, because I found that this was more useful than just starting from scratch. Now, this is definitely where things are going to start getting a little interesting, because we do have specific targets in mind now. So try to follow this attack order, you guys. I found this was extremely helpful for me, but you can see just that Falcon ultimating, using his ultimate once again at the very beginning. So these guys get their turns quite quickly, so that's why we need to set that up. So from the very beginning, what I highly recommend is if you have Squirrel Girl, offense down, heal block, it's just going to prevent them from being able to utilize their abilities. But I also know that there's another cleanse coming, so I want to just slowly focus damage on Falcon right now. He is one of the weakest ones with the lowest HP, so that's the logic there. We do really want to target him if we can and try to do damage, but I don't believe either of the Groots have used their cleanse yet, so that's kind of what I'm waiting for. That's the main reason of why I haven't activated Cloak's ultimate yet, to inflict all the negative blinds and offense down. But fortunately right now, you can see even without them cleansing, we're doing pretty good here. Falcon's going down. There's that right there, keep that in mind, right? That's one of the Groot cleanses right there, and there should be another one coming up with a speed bar coming up. But again, you can see here in the footage, I don't even need Cloak's ultimate there to get through them, even despite the fact that both of the Groots just cleansed and healed. So now we're in a good spot. We know they all used their cleanses. We got some crowd control on our end. This is a good place to be. So this is the prime time to actually activate Cloak's ultimate. And again, you wouldn't be having this issue if you brought Cloak and Dagger with the amount of negatives they can inflict, but because we're only trying to utilize Cloak and save the Mystic Gear for the Cosmic Nodes, that's the logic of needing to time the cleanses here. You got to make sure all 4 of them use their abilities, and now we're in a good spot. We can start focusing now. The next character here in mind is going to be Rescue. Great chance as well. Keep in mind who has the blind, who doesn't. So my Ghost Spider extending all the blinds now to all the enemies that didn't have it, and that again buys us more turns, buys us a little bit more time, and utilizing Scarlet Spider to extend negative conditions as well. And sometimes you get lucky in the sense that the blind can last for 2 turns, right? So you can see there a timely heal right now with Squirrel Girl. Definitely try to utilize her whenever you can. Both her and Shang-Chi having the support and cleansing is definitely appreciated. Following those two, I would actually try to focus on the damage dealers. So in this case, Black Bolt, War Machine, they do a lot of damage. So by taking them out, they're going to increase our overall survivability, right? So now we got 4 down here, and leaving tanks such as Groot and Squirrel Girl at the very end is going to be really fortuitous for us, especially when we're trying to build up energy in preparation for the next wave. Their last main damage dealer taken down, leaving these 4, and we're in a good spot. Now we can just slowly chip away at them and build up energy. Doesn't necessarily really matter which one you want to take down, but keep in mind they all have cleanses, right? So you do want to just focus on one and then continue that until the next wave preparation here. And there we have it. We're finishing off Groot here, and that's going to spawn the next wave here. Where do take a chance to take a look at around, who the cleansers are in this case, right? So this team is dangerous because, a lot of them are defenders. They have a couple of the Iron Fist that can cleanse and heal. They have a Shang-Chi, and as well a Luke Cage and a Groot. So I mean, right from the get-go, I do utilize Shang-Chi's ultimate to actually reduce their turn meter, apply some damage overall. But once again, we're going to need a main target to focus, and that is actually going to be Shang-Chi here, especially with him and Falcon. They can give their team a significant advantage here, especially having those cleanses. So something we need to be mindful of here in this wave. And I love the fact that Ghost Spider's ultimate, when she does all that damage all around, you can really see overall who's the weakest and squishiest one. So you can see overall, I tried to extend some negative conditions on the Iron Fist because I know they can cleanse, and keeping blind on them at least prevents us from taking damage overall. Now this is a really good value chance of, if you have Squirrel Girl on the team, the healing block, just preventing them from actually healing and actually getting their HP back against us is absolutely huge. It helps us overall, especially making sure our damage actually sticks. But yeah, you can get a sample right there with Iron Fist's ultimate. These guys are very powerful if we're not careful. So that's why it's extremely important to have these abilities ready to go in this wave. This is a dangerous wave that I can see a lot of players having difficulties with if we don't manage it correctly. So get another chance now to activate Ghost Spider's ultimate here. Works in tandem here, just spreading it out, and again ensuring that there's blind overall, even if they have the speed up and whatnot. Ensuring that they have the blind gives us that extra time to bide and prepare, right? We're slowly chipping away at all of them, and again, main targets being Falcon and Shang-Chi, but you can see how weak the Daredevils are getting on the left there just because they are squishier. And we finally get a chance here to finish off Falcon, so that's 1 down finally in this wave, and again continue resuming damage. The Daredevils healed up from Iron Fists unfortunately, but we're close to taking down Shang-Chi, and he's a big one because of his ultimate, the fact that he also has an inherent cleanse, and easily the best character in this wave. So you can see right there, just look at how much healing he just did from that one attack, and that's why it's extremely important to wave manage this one, because this wave can really set you back if you're not being careful here. And once again, Squirrel Girl's heal block here, absolutely huge, prevents them from making any heals. So I love the fact that she has that, and it can really, again, buy us more time, especially when we're ensuring that our damage is sticking on them. So yeah, it's going to be up and down with this wave, guys. There's a lot of healing going on, right? So that's why I was saying earlier, it's extremely important to have sustainability on the team. If we don't have it, then it's quite difficult to even keep up, just because they have so many healers going on. And you can see, even despite fighting for a little bit now, their Shang-Chi is still at least halfway HP. So at this point, you really try to focus on and see if you can actually focus on any enemies that are weakened. Obviously, our battles are going to differ from experience and playing, as well as the characters that you're utilizing versus mine. But we're making good pace. Shang-Chi's looking good again. The Groot's looking weaker. So we definitely have to take advantage of any moments of weakness that we see. Getting another Shang-Chi ultimate here just to finish off Groot, and still doing work on this wave. So you can see how crucial it is to really have a good synergistic team. Even our team as well, we're losing HP as well, so we need to make sure we're healing and continually managing the waves. But fortunately, we do have a good balance of characters on our team and continuing our continued damage. And I must say, as you can see, taking down Shang-Chi is definitely a huge sigh of relief just because he's really the main one dealing damage, and if we can blind the Iron Fist, it's honestly not a big deal. You're going to be left with these defenders, and they're okay to manage overall, so as long as we have negative conditions on our end. So at this point now, once the taunt actually falls off on Luke Cage, I would recommend taking down the Daredevils and then focusing on the Iron Fist and Luke Cage, because those are the three that we can leave to build up energy. And as well, we don't be shy in using some abilities though, because those Iron Fists can still hit quite hard with their ultimates. And once again, Shang-Chi coming in clutch here, finishing off both the Daredevils in one fell swoop. And we get a great chance now to build up energy once again. The key one is Cloak, right? Feel free, if you got to use some abilities to keep your team alive, utilize them, but the main one is Cloak's ultimate. And with one enemy remaining, as you can see on screen, it does actually spawn the next wave prematurely. So that's why you do want to bring down whoever's left on the last wave as low as you possibly can before starting off this next wave. Now, similar to the previous nodes we've seen, we got a Squirrel Girl that we got to deal with. Once again, another Falcon. And a couple of the defenders again, back with Daredevils and Punishers now. Unfortunately, at this point, I was too deep already with the node, so I didn't want to reset. So, unfortunately, my ally following.
Looking back at it now, I should have recognized that this initial wave, we should have just let them use their abilities, because you can see right now then Shang-Chi goes down, and at this point, I've already made up my mind that this is likely going to be a failed attempt here, but what we can try to do is just get them to use as many abilities as they can, reducing that cooldown reduction here, so that way when we have a full squad re-attempting this, we're going to be in a better place. So at this point, burning attacks and really just taking as many damage as we can, as you can see them using their abilities and taking us down slowly. So looking back at it now, if you guys don't have Cloak and Dagger, I would recommend this could be one of those ways where you just burn your characters in terms of letting them use their abilities on you, because it's just really difficult to go through this wave, especially with all of them having those buffs up and attacking us. So now we're going to dive into attempt number 3 here, guys, and this is going to be another meaningful attack here, because this is really where we're going to take down this initial wave and leading us into the final wave here. So you can see that was a good trigger for me right away. Squirrel Girl activating her cleanse right at the start, so that was really fortuitous for us, because now we know we have the confirmation to inflict some negative conditions with confidence. In this initial wave, I would recommend actually taking down one of the Punishers, so that way there's some reduced damage overall. And keep in mind, Falcon generally has a lower HP pool, same with Daredevil, but they only have one cleanser, so that's really good for us. So I do take advantage of that. I noticed that Falcon's already kind of giving that speed up and buffs for his team, so taking him down, at least ability blocking him, would at least buy us a little bit of time. So going ahead here, we finish off Falcon, and the other second Punisher is almost down as well. So we're in a really good place. Ideally, the two targets we want to always keep in mind is, who do you want to leave at the end of the day that's going into the next wave? And I recommend, tankier targets. Yeah, we're looking pretty good now. Damage dealers are looking pretty good. Reduced HP. So at this point, this is where it's a good chance to start building up energy, because ideally we want 2 or 3 of them remaining. And again, we can take advantage of saving for the next wave here. We're going to finish up and wrap up Squirrel Girl here. It'll take some time because she's going to be healing quite a bit. But at this point, leaving Daredevil and Kingpin here makes the most sense, just because Kingpin doesn't do damage. He just summons clones. My abilities are all good now. Energy is refreshed. And you can see this last wave, once again, another devastating combination here of attackers. You can see double Mr. Sinister, Stripes, Kingpin once again, as well as Killmonger. So this is not a wave to sweat over, definitely, because once they start cloning, activating their buffs, you can see how heavy these guys can actually hit. So I took advantage by using Shang-Chi's ultimate. You are going to see me fail, because I wasn't expecting how much damage to get inflicted by all of them. You'll see that they just heavily populate their board here, and they start doing waves and waves of damage to us. And this is when I recognized, with all their abilities happening, this might be another chance where we may have to just take their damage and reset and attempt one more time with an attack. So it really depends on your setup overall, if you believe you guys have a good chance to get through it. But because I saw Shang-Chi falling right away already, I opted not to use Cloak's abilities and really just to wait it out for them to take me down. In the meantime, if you want to focus on a specific enemy with basic attacks, I'd recommend one of the 2 Killmongers, just because they do damage, and by taking out the damage dealer first off, it's going to help us out in our last final attempt here.
And even with this wave, we still get pretty lucky with actually some occurrences. So you'll see Kingpin's actually going to summon some of his fellow mercenaries, and that actually prevents both the Mr. Sinisters from being able to clone our team. So if you guys can get that set up, it's actually ideal, because even despite having Shang-Chi and Scarlet Spider being ability blocked, I saw that, and it was just a great opportunity to take advantage of. Cleansing them, no problems whatsoever, and this is a great place to be, especially knowing both the Sinisters already ulted with their clones. So now we can start kind of focusing on some damage dealers, right? At this point, with the blinds here, we're ready to go. You know, get any chance you can get Scarlet Spider to extend the blinds. You can see a couple of characters having a couple turns of blinds, you know, puts us in a really good spot. And especially then with a Squirrel Girl applying your heal block later on, we're going to be in a really good position to prevent them from getting sustainability, and for us to ensure that we can do some meaningful damage. Now we go ahead now and finish off one of the Killmongers, which greatly reduces their damage output now. And I would actually recommend just taking down the second one now too, because ideally we have all these tankier enemies left at the very end. It's not going to be a big deal for us. Shang-Chi here, once again, doing amazing work with his ultimate in being able to finish off the second Killmonger here, actually, with the bleeding. So at this point, 2 strifes, the Kingpin as well as double Mr. Sinister, we're in a really good place to be, because these guys are all tanky. They don't really do a lot of damage, and at this point, I would just focus on whoever's weaker that you're seeing in your waves, and really try to focus in. The last 2 or 3 enemies, we want to save energy in preparation now for the next node. Just based on the HP that remained, you can see Mr. Sinister ended up being the first one that actually went down that pairing, and leaving these 2 here. Now we're in a great place to just attack with our basics and build up energy. Yeah, definitely not an easy node, you guys. Took 4 attempts, and especially this early in Dark Dimension 5, that's why they said that the city nodes, especially when you don't have the combination of Cloak and Dagger, they could be likely the most difficult section out of all Dark Dimension 5. So there you guys have it, 4 attempts total, and I tried to lay it out in detail as much as possible in my 4 attacks, but you can see here generally the broke down, and the second attack was really the most meaningful in setting up the stage, especially after that first sacrificial attempt of wasting those cleanses, right? So I hope this video is able to help you guys at least pinpoint who to attack in the attack order, because I know this is going to be very difficult. You know, it was still overall quite a lot of luck involved, but based on this team, I do highly recommend it, you guys. Thank you as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.